right, here we are. Awesemo. It's a Friday night. A rare appearance by your old pal Emac coming in here after the workday. Fortunately, you're looking at my new day job office. That's right. I have not actually sat in my office, which is a 40-minute commute away in 6 months now, I think, 5.5.
Nice.
Terry, it's been a long time. I believe like March 14th or so. That was 11th maybe was my last day in. It was right around I got sick one day, so I was out, and then I had a work from home day, and then we had Rudy Gobert night.
Right.
And then that was it. I haven't been back since.
The world changed. Yeah, a little bit. Do you miss it? Do you miss like the office camaraderie? Like, was there like an office mom type person, something like that you miss?
So not really. I mean, I miss seeing other people. And the part that really got bad, and not to where we're going to talk plenty of baseball here. We're just collecting people, collecting.
And let people trickle in.
Yeah, we got. The hard part was everybody I support is not in this area, so. My team was, but so I miss having the people to bounce ideas off of and such, but I don't mind driving all the way in. Now, if I hadn't been with the company for I was over a year before this happened, it'd be a little harder, I think, to start with a new company and not know anything, because everything I do is built on relationships and managing people without direct authority and getting people to do literally what they don't want to do, but do it quickly for me. So I've developed that skill set over the years.
Bending people to his will.
I don't know that it's bending. It's subtly influenced. These are not the droids you're looking for, but it's like with a little kid. Do you want to brush your teeth first, or do you want to put on your pajamas? You can pick.
It's up to you.
Yeah, so we have that. But when we went away with no sports, that was the hard part, because I had forgotten how much of my social life is now talking to people that I can see. For work, we don't use a lot of video stuff. We have a lot of people in classified areas, et cetera, government contractors. So most of it's over the phone,
right.
For that. So we don't usually use the video. So it's kind of interesting. But no, I don't miss the commute. That part is nice. So we'll see. I even showered just for this show. So there we are.
Ooh, wow. Step ahead of me. You guys are lucky you can't smell me out there.
So we already had a show today for the game-by-game breakdown. So I think if we just kind of hit some high notes and maneuver along, the things we want to remember: one, we are sponsored by Yahoo. They now have CSV edit or upload and edit. They have late swap. They are running management fee-free contests in both baseball and basketball. They're not gigantic contests, but it doesn't cost you anything other than your entry fee to join. That's a good way to do things. And even when they are doing the management fees, they run them at about 12%, whereas DK and FanDuel run a 15.9. I've seen some of them have crept over 16 on the regular now. Not sure I'm a fan of that, Terry. It makes it harder to win. I'm looking at the weather. The only thing we have potentially is Atlanta. And it looks a little crummy right now. And then in theory, it's going to go away. Now, the fun thing about this is that's where Aaron Nola is.
Yeah.
So your question is, for starters, what are we doing with Aaron Nola? And we have, I forget what it's called. We have some tool here that we like to use. Isn't it called the top pitching tool? No. I believe that might be free today.
Pitcher tool. Oh, is it? I hadn't seen that it was free today. Wow. Everybody better be in there hammering that thing.
Absolutely.
That is one of my favorite pieces to go to every day. I've mentioned a bunch of times when we're on shows, and if it seems like I'm stalling, I am, because my spreadsheet's not letting me click over to it. But
well, not a problem, because I'm going to drop it here into chat for everybody.
Look at that.
Of course, it is free for today. It's the top pitching stacks tool, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. While Terry's waiting for the fan to stop running on his computer, I do want to remind you our amazing promo code is Mamba, as in Kobe Bryant's nickname. So in honoring Kobe, and on the way to Mamba Day here, 8/24, his numbers while he was in LA, we are offering a full week of Awesemo fantasy basketball for $8.24. You just select the 1 week NBA and then use the promo code Mamba, and it'll be $8.24. So check that out. That's a pretty good deal there. But if we are looking at our top pitching tool, focus here on DK and FanDuel for the moment. On FanDuel, we have Mr. Nola coming in at, there's 3 different percentages here. Goodness, what do we do with all of these? Let's explain that for the people that might be new. So on the far right, you're going to have something called ownership. That's what you're expecting. This is where we're projecting the pitchers to be, or well, Alex and company behind the scenes are. So with that, that'll align with our player projections. The top value is the percentage of time the player is the top point per dollar value. So that's going to differ across the sites, right? Because their salaries are going to be different, the scoring systems are going to be different, et cetera. And then top pitcher, that's unique for each site. So on FanDuel, chance of being the top pitcher. On the other sites, tops of being the top 2 pitchers because you have to put 2 in your lineup. So that's what the 3 different columns are. So I like to use this a lot when I'm putting in my pitchers. One, it tells me quickly where everybody's going because I don't worry about that with individual players for baseball. I worry about it for stacks, but not really that much. I'm mostly focused on pitching, put the stacks where I want them to be. Keep an eye on it. Am I leveraging too much or not enough? But I like this. So we have Aaron Nola on DK is projected to be the top finishing pitcher 26% of the time, or top 2. On FanDuel, he is the top number 1 pitcher 9% of the time. And on Yahoo, he's top 2 24% of the time, which is about the same as DK because there's 2 pitchers. Their scoring is a tiny bit different than DraftKings. Yeah. What do you want to do here with the weather concern and the pricing? Oh, so he's got to face Atlanta too. Jeez.
Yeah, Atlanta, there's a lot of good bats that we like in that lineup. There's also a lot of strikeouts in that lineup, though. And we're talking about a guy who so far in 2020 has been striking out just a tick under 40% of hitters. So, I mean, it's a big strikeout number this kid's capable of putting up. We've seen him prove it over the years, too. I mean, it's not completely illusory out of nowhere. This is a quality pitcher that we know. He's just pitching at his apex right now. He's been better this year than we've ever seen him be, but we've seen him be very good. I like him on both sides. I really do. I think he's at just about appropriate ownership. I'm willing to go to him. I'm willing to get over the field on him. On FanDuel especially, the price tag is pretty big at 1070. He's the most expensive pitcher on the board, but only 9% owned, 10% owned, somewhere around there. I can easily double up on that especially with all the cheap bats over there and not have to really, punt on any of the bats or stacks that I want to get to. So you can get to a lot of Nola, and I would definitely do it. And same thing on DK. I like the price a lot, $9,900 on DK, not even the most expensive pitcher over there. I would be loading up, absolutely. And he actually looks a little tiny bit under-owned as of my last update. So I would definitely be getting on that. What's our latest update on the rain percentage? I wasn't looking at right before we got on. Is it? It didn't look too threatening earlier.
Yes, so we do have a little bit. So on Awesemo, well, one, we do have a weather account that Alex will post his thoughts on from time to time on Twitter. That, of course, is free. And, he doesn't always. If there's going to be a lot of impacted games or things like that, and he has the time, he'll go out there and post some of his thoughts and what he's doing, which is the more important thing. By the way, fun story. His dad's actually meteorologist, atmospheric sciences. So that's kind of fun. And we was like, well, that, if his dad was a brain surgeon, we wouldn't say he was a brain surgeon. Hey, my dad and brother are in sales. I'm not. I can't stand it. But you know what? I can sell the hell out of something if I want to, because you guys have seen me do it many times. But, imagine talking around the dinner table. Obviously Alex is very smart in math and applied science here, and there we go. So I was just buying some time here. So we have
pick up more of barometric pressure and stuff sitting at his dinner table than at mine, right?
Exactly. So we have chance of postponement, 0. That's not chance of a delay, right? So that's entirely different for the pitchers. Mm-hmm. So in our model here, we do put that in there. I got caught in the last one. I said, hey, I'm playing the Nationals and I'm playing Washington or Atlanta. This was leading right into lock. I had about 20% of my player pool. I had 3 different players at 30%. Game didn't happen. Yeah. Okay. I was caught. Whatever. That's just going to happen. I think of it this way. You know what? My team they hit my team. Whatever. You can't beat yourself up about it unless you're willing to X out this entirely. Right. We had one 2 Sundays ago. It was me and Greg Aarons, and we were saying, you know what, we don't know what's going on in Philly. It was I think it had been DeGrom or Nola, I forget now which. But one of them was pitching, and we don't want to deal with it. It's supposed to rain on and off all day. They played it, no delays, no anything. And then we had the surprise one 2 Fridays ago in Minnesota. What I want to say is I think they're postponing the games a little sooner now, especially if they can make it up as a doubleheader. The players aren't as angry. for the postponement because, one, there's really not that much time in between the games like there is normally, and they are only going 7 innings. And 2, it's an abbreviated season. Most of them got 5 weeks left. You know what? And there's no stands, and they're not selling, or no fans in stands. They're not selling concessions. Concessions. They might be selling confessions, but they're not selling concessions. People have come all the way in, and none of that's an issue anymore. So it seems like, at least, that we could get caught unawares on some of these. Just embrace it and say, if you don't want that to happen, then exit out. But then don't beat yourself up if it plays, and vice versa. If you play it and it doesn't happen, you just accept the risk. And this is a weird season. It's 2020. So there we are.
One more piece of variance in a sport with an extreme amount of variance that we just have to embrace. And if you want to reduce your exposure to a guy like Nola, and because of the risk, then you can take that approach. For me, I'm willing to take that risk. And if it leads to me getting a stud like Nola and they do play and he's under-owned because of it, that's to my advantage. So I try, unless it looks really extreme, not to shy away because of weather, unless there's something saying this game is delayed, this game is about to be delayed, something like that. They're bringing the tarp out. I try not to sweat it too much. It does burn you from time to time. I had a bunch of one-offs from that game the other day, but I think you benefit from it more often than not.
Hey, you know what burns you? A Darren Ruff pinch hit when the bases are, at least 2 guys were on. I believe it was last night? Yeah. And he got pinch hit because the lefty went out, righty came in, and then, Coors Field West did its thing. 15 runs last night. Yeah. I'm just saying. I don't know that it's a hitter's park, but it's not a pitcher's park, at least not this year.
Definitely not.
The balls are juiced because we've seen cold weather below 70 degrees multiple times now, and the balls are still flying out. So either it's their bad bullpen, yes, but the opponents. But the Angels, well, you know what? I guess they were the third guy in last. Well, they had Matt Andriese, they had Suarez, who can't stop righties, and then all of a sudden it was Teheran. And I'm like, wait, wasn't he just a starter or something not that long ago? So the Angels not that good pitching. We don't have to deal with the Angels tonight in this park, but we have Robbie Ray. How do you want to attack? Because I'm ready to attack Robbie Ray. His home runs went 3 in the first game, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, none in the fourth. I was doing the countdown, and Jordan wasn't even looking at me. 2, 1, oh. So he also had a career-high 6 walks.
Yeah.
And then did it again. So twice in his 4 starts, he's had a career-high 6 walks. Base runners abound here. I want to play. Don't know about Darren Ruff again. If he's at the lineup, because that hurt, the pinch hit, just a reminder there. But I'm playing Chad Pinder. Ruff's not in the lineup, but I think Pinder is in the other game. We'll talk about that one next. But what do you want to do here with Coors West, and do you believe?
Coors West, I'm starting to believe it. Definitely, it made me money yesterday, made me look smart. My columns, I wrote up the Giants, and I dropped in a little mention of the Oakland A's, and I put them together in a bunch of stacks, and Brandon Belt had gotten one more shot at it. He might have put me over the top, but I had a nice little night last night with the Giants. I don't know that they put that kind of game on Robbie Ray here. I don't think that they do. It's not how it's projecting for me, both between their bats and the number that I'm getting on him. I get a better projection that for him, then I feel good about it. Let's put it that way. I do not trust this pitcher very much. But for the price and for the projection that I get on him, I have to roll him out, and I have to do it in a pretty big volume. He's just looking too good here for me. The walks are an extreme concern. I mean, he's a 10.7 career walks guy, and so far for this season, he's at 18.5%. So, I mean, this is a guy who puts a lot of base runners on. He yields a lot of opportunities. We've also seen him be completely lights out with the strikeout. So we're putting him in, and we're hoping that that's what we get here. We've got a number of guys that strike out the mid-20s or higher on the San Francisco lineup, so we can see it. We've seen that they can put some quality up against a lefty, but this is a pretty darn good lefty. For this season, he's let's see, where is he at? Well, last year he was a 1.55 home run per 9 and 2.86 so far this year. So a little dicey with the home run ball, like we've said. So maybe you check out some of those righties in the Giants lineup. But he's throwing a 86-mile-an-hour slider, 94-mile-an-hour heater 53% of the time. He gets 51% whiff on that slider on 171 of them so far this year. So it's a big pitch. It's a strikeout pitch. He can get these guys. So it comes down to that control and whether he can manage to not walk the world.
You are going to at least play a few Giant stacks, though, right?
Of course.
Just because this is legitimate. This is not I'm just doing a hedge stack against an incredibly variant pitcher. This is there could be something to this juice baseball. We'll see.
Yeah. And look, for those prices on both sites, to be honest, it would be hard to stop them to come up in at least a little bit in optimizers. It would be hard to avoid them completely. They're just a good deal. They've got some decent hitters. So, they're worth a couple dice rolls for sure.
And we've seen a ton of these runs come in the later innings and against the bullpen on both sides. So, we could still go with the starting pitcher. Look, traditionally Pitcher's Park. That's where I'm sort of saying I don't know that what I think to be somewhat minor changes are having this dramatic of an effect where they're averaging just shy of 14 runs per game in Oracle Park this season. I think we're up to 11 games now, but that's absolutely bonkers. And then on the other side, the bullpens are bad. So I'm hoping with the variance amongst all these pitchers, and you're just fingers crossed somebody survives. I mean, last night we didn't have survival. We had Bieber and Kershaw being like normal pitchers, but most of the other time we're like one of the three aces dies on the vine and another one has a mediocre game and then the other does okay or gets the early hook or whatever it might be. So you're like, wow, that wasn't great. Now, which of your mid-tier and low-tier pitchers are going to do well? We don't know. That's where playing a lot of them kind of helps out. Right. And going down in buy-in level, playing your same volume, just giving yourself some different options here. I never played poker, but I like the thought of how many outs do I have? What different paths do I have to seeing my name in lights? And the more options I have when something is closed off, then there's a different direction I can go. I like to see that. So that's just kind of a way to lay that one out.
And that's a great thing to point to for just the difference between somebody who thinks about the game the right way, both with poker and with DFS, is somebody who's considering something like a pot odds situation. Somebody who just plays poker to gamble, just thinks of every bet as the same. I'm just betting this. And they don't consider what their odds are of actually making the hand, making the cards, and what winning possibilities they have. So that's what we want to be looking for here. Winning combination, winning opportunities with what pitchers we can utilize with what teams, how it all comes together. So great point.
All right. Now I've got to bring this other one up because loyal viewer and Andrew Mock has tweeted this, and he says, tweeting to all of the Awesemo crew. If you're not following us on Twitter, please absolutely do. It's a lot of fun. But Awesemo_COM is the best place to do that. I'm at Emac DFS, and Terry is at Digital B21.
Yeah, good
there
job.
We go. So Andrew says, one thing I've learned over the years as a DFS player is when people are called up to make their debut and they have an awesome name, it guarantees a home run. For the Baltimore Orioles tonight, Ryan Mountcastle, he says, what a name on Baltimore. It's only on DK, though, he says. So I looked him up in the minors. So he's kind of a young Crash Davis in the minors. Started out 2015 at age 18. So here we are. So and he only played, 210 plate appearances at rookie ball. It looks like, so that's his combined between rookie ball. But he played 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So then this year he's at the alternate training site. But he has 70 home runs through 2,000 at-bats. So if we kind of back in, prorate all of that, the 70 home runs sounds pretty good. The 2,000 at-bats equates into about 35 home run power in a full season, I would say, something along those lines. Add into the fact that he's played mostly at low A and double A, a little bit at triple A. Still, he's cheap. He's got the name, and we've already seen 2 or 3 different players hit home runs this season in their first at bat. Now, part of that has to do with a lot of times pitchers will be like, it's a rookie, and it's kind of this. You talk about the unwritten rules. Well, here's one that kind of happens when it's their first game or first couple of days. The pitchers are just going at them with fastballs. It's kind of a can you hit it, kid? And then it's if you get a home run, what a neat story. You got one in one of your first at bats or your second game or whatever it was. And then that just lost on the pitcher. It doesn't matter because they're going to give up some home runs. So that kind of seems to be a little bit of a thing. So they're doing some hardcore, down the pipe. And then that's why we see everybody struggle because they're like, all right, well, they can't hit the major league fastball. Let's show them some breaking stuff. And as Crash Davis said, there's some ungodly breaking stuff in the show.
Nice. I've watched that too many times this week. I don't know if you've seen me talking about it.
I did see you mention that, yes.
It's just been in the cable rotation lately, and I can't pass it every time it's on. So, yeah, look, I think if you're going to the Orioles, I don't know if I would go to them as like a one-off specifically just to target them. But if you're building stacks with that team, absolutely. I can definitely justify it there. And I think they're a stackable team today. I wrote them up in stack slants because I don't really have any faith in the bullpen game that the Red Sox are throwing at them, that's for sure. Last I saw, it was going to be Colton Brewer and Darwinzon Hernandez. Hernandez, what I have on him is that he just basically throws a dead straight 96-mile-an-hour fastball and not much else. Flip back a couple pages. But, yeah, I think this is definitely a team that we can get to. I like Santander in there. I like Nunez in there. Rio Ruiz can turn on a ball. We've got Mountcastle in that lineup now. So that's a good little four-man. I think we can add, maybe a Hanser Alberto just because of the spot he's in leading off. Maybe a Chance Sisco. Last I saw, he was going over own, though. I'm not sure what his ownership percentage is at right now. But, I think those are decent plays in this stack, and I think they're going to get plenty of opportunity in this game.
All right, I'm just checking to see who my write-ups were here because we'll get to them in a minute here. I noticed you waving around your notepads. I have my notepad, but see, it's not fully written on because this other one was sitting on top of it, so I started writing on that. So there we go.
Page after page of craziness for you guys. Look at this.
Yes. So just saying, Terry and I were talking about this the other night off air. We were saying, it's the act of writing that helps me remember this stuff. So even though it's mostly illegible, it's just me kind of writing it reminds me that here's some information you need to remember for the next 24 hours. Otherwise, we absorb so much information, it just goes right back out if it's something we don't need.
Yeah, so no doubt about it. Don't ask me any of these things tomorrow because they'll be in my head after I change the notes.
Yeah. Oh, good times. All right, so let me see here. We want to mention a little bit about – there's a show after us tonight. It's NFL. It's NFL Best Ball, and we do have some NFL Best Ball content. And season-long content. I helped write some of it, and I've played a ton of Best Ball. I haven't yet this season because I'm doing all the other sports because, hey, we have great projections and such here at Awesemo. So I'm doing the NASCAR, I'm doing the golf, doing hockey, every slate, every night, every format. So that's a lot of fun doing basketball and then of course baseball, but we do have fantasy football. So I want to remind you, we have a season-long fantasy football draft kit, works for best ball as well. It's going to be continually updated. That stuff's all live right now. So it's $29.95 for the draft kit. But if you sign up through us with your normal Awesemo account email, and then you also join the FFPC with that same email, we'll marry the two together and we'll get you a $35 credit over there at the FFPC. Let's see, you're going to put in $29.95 here. You're going to get $35 over there, plus you're going to get best ball content. That seems like a good deal. So definitely check that out. If you have questions about that, you can reach out to our support at awesemo.com on email. They'll get you all squared away with that with any questions. But just want to say, hey, we're kind of paying you to go read our content. That seems like a good deal. We got a free show tonight after us. It's going to be Alex Baker and Nolan Kelly. By the way, Nolan Kelly does a ton of NFL stuff. He's not into that Canadian Football League kind of thing. He's from north of the border. But, he's a very good mind when it comes to the NFL, especially understanding offensive line and defensive line injuries and changes and free agencies, which is something a lot of people don't always break down.
Yeah, he does info. Every time I'm on Twitter, I'm seeing Nolan blasting out tweets about best ball drafts that he's been doing too. Yeah. He's just constantly in them. So yeah, that's going to be a good show. I'm going to tune into that. It's going to be my first, other than writing up some of the stuff and doing some looks at our rankings and everything. That's going to be my first real dive into what people are thinking, what the guys from the site are really thinking. So I'm looking forward to that show.
All right. An update from Andrew. He says the guy should just ride a horse around the base path when he crushes one tonight. There we go. Andrew, you not only win a chat, you win the internet tonight. So there you are. May you also win a GPP. Let's see if we can go for the triple crown. See, horses, baseball, triple. See what I did there? I'm next level. I'm definitely next level.
Like that. And he did that with the mount and the horse and everything. So that worked out.
Absolutely. There is something there. I'm gonna have to lock this in, I guess. So we're still waiting on a couple lineups here. And again, we're bouncing around a little bit today, but we're gonna hit some pertinent information on this. Again, Atlanta, a little dicey with the weather. We'll see what happens. We are currently still projecting a 0% chance of postponement. That's not delay. Big difference here. Best case scenario looks like if there's an early delay, then we're not going to have to worry about it if and when they restart. because it's Aaron Nola. That's an important thing today on the pitching. What do you like with Anthony Desclafani? Did you write up anything about the Cardinals? And it's more what the Cardinals are no longer an all-righty team. We've got Colton Wong. We've got Tommy Edman. We've got Matt Carpenter. We've got Brad Miller. We've got Dexter Fowler. These are not batters that are striking the fear in the hearts of anybody at this point in time. However, there are a lot of lefties, and if memory serves, Anthony Desclafani gives up 400 WOBA, 200 plus ISO to lefties, and is pretty damn good against righties. But that's a lot of lefties. This is not the 7 righty lineup we're used to seeing, and there's no pitcher either.
And we know now. And we know there's, Carpenter's got some good quality left in his bat. We've seen Miller break slates randomly. He's not anybody that anybody's excited about rostering, but every now and then he pops off with one of those games. We know there's a little bit of power in that bat. So both of those guys, I think, are in play against this guy. The number I wrote down for the power is 174 home run per 9 against left-handed hitters for his career. So he gives up the long ball to lefties, no doubt about it. He's sitting 30th percentile in exit velo allowed, 29th percentile in hard hit rate, 24th in xWOBA, 30th in barrels allowed. Not much going on with this pitcher right now. 9 earned runs in his last time out in just 2 innings. For his career, 635 innings. Surprised me. It was a 405 xFIP, a little bit better than I would have thought that he had been pitching for his career. But overall, I just don't really see it. I think the Cards can get to him. They're super cheap. You can get them on both sides for very small investments, so it helps you get to some of the bigger pitchers. I don't love them. I didn't write them up in any spots, but they're pulling decent home run projections, all below 10, but some pushing that 10 mark and several in the 7 to 10 range. So good home run metrics from me. Decent decent projections from Alex. So I kind of like the Cards play. I would work it in a little bit. Let's see if I can get the stack ranks to pop up quickly enough. Let's see where they're ranking stacks. So it's a big grouping of stacks today in the stacks tool.
24 teams in action is going to kind of spread things out a little bit. No Coors Field, no hot weather in Texas. That stadium doesn't exist anymore, etc. But
so it's a fun day to look at it because everybody is under 10%. Usually we'll have 2 teams up 10, 12, somewhere around there that soak up a lot of the probability. So today, even though they're well down the board, they're still on FanDuel 3%. If you look to the team that's 8th, 9th in this thing, they're only at 5.6%. So you're not sacrificing that much probability to drop down to a team like St. Louis. You're not gaining a giant amount of ownership, but they're in play, they're frisky, and there's no real standout team. So this is a team I'm going to want to mix into at least some of my stacks today, I guess is what I'm saying. I want to be broad about things today.
All right. We're going to talk home run picks here in just a minute, but I'm going to talk home run history in the meantime. We've got the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim on the slate tonight. We still don't have their lineup yet, but I expect Albert Pujols to be in it tonight. He is his next home run will actually tie him with Willie Mays, who he doesn't run like Hayes, but he hits like Mays. 659 career home runs. Oh, somebody said, there is Coors. I'm sorry. Yes, there is San Francisco. We'll talk about that.
Nice.
But we have Mike Fiers on the mound, third with the most home runs, 69. Nice. Since the beginning of 2018, a generous 39 have gone to same-handed hitters at a 1.84 home run per 9 rate. Lefties have accounted for 30. That's a 1.41 home run rate. Pujols got the night off last night. They're at home, not doing this in front of the home fans, obviously, because we're in the middle of the pandemic. But this would be a nice spot to see him in the lineup. I expect to see him in the lineup, not because now they're doing it home, because it's going to be on TV for everybody, but he got the night off last night. This is a good spot for him to hit one. Trout, Ohtani, Rendon also are the obvious plays. Brian Goodwin, decent amount of pop in his bat. He's like a traditional 4th or 5th outfielder. He's probably going to be, if he's not batting first, he's going to be batting in the bottom third of the lineup. Don't worry about that. You got Joe Adele. Maybe he'll do something. He doesn't have an extra base hit yet, but he's only got 35 at-bats. But he's pretty cheap if he ends up being in the lineup. And then Tommy La Stella and David Fletcher. Don't look now, but they have been elite this season. So again, small sample size, but we're almost halfway through the season. We can say that now. 180 WRC plus for LaStella, 130 for Fletcher. What that means is compared to baseline, neutralizing for park factors, etc., LaStella is accounting for via RBI or runs scored 80% more runs than average against righties. David Fletcher, 30% more than average. Yes, they do. It's nice to have the protection, air quotes, in the lineup around them with Trout, Ohtani, Rendon, etc. But I kind of like these guys, especially against Mike Fiers. If I remember, it's going to be cooler in 67 degrees there in Oakland. I'm still okay. They have a 5.2 implied run total. So that was one of the stacks I wrote up today.
Yeah, I like that spot. I think it's a good call by you. Fiers, if I'm not mistaken, 161 career home runs per 9 to right-handed hitters, 145 overall, 20.7% career strikeout rate. Not a pitcher that's going to strike fear into the hearts of any of these veteran right-handed hitters on the Angels. I like the spot. It would be a good spot for Albert to pick off his 660th. I think that's probably a good call. One of his better opportunities remaining in the season, probably. So Fiers is sitting 26th percentile in barrels allowed, 4th in K percentage, 1st percentile in whiff. Those are bad 4th and 1st, by the way, if you didn't pick that out. 19th in xwOBA allowed, 39th in exit velo. So he's serving up a lot right now in 2020. He operates 40% or 48% of the time with just an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a slider changeup mix the rest of the time, working in the mid-80s. Just not a big-time pitcher right now. Soft tosser. So I think some of those guys can get to it. Stacks-wise, you mentioned Fletcher and LaStella up top. What I really want to point out there with them is they're both getting on base at a really nice clip ahead of these sluggers. So that's really the WRC plus will probably normalize, come back to reality. But both of these guys are pretty good at limiting the strikeout. Both of these guys are getting on base at over a 360 clip right now. So they get on a lot ahead of these big bats. They're going to be part of the scoring most likely. So we want to work those guys in. Adele's a guy I keep mentioning in columns every time I touch on this team. He's a prospect I've been looking forward to. The power is super, super real. Every stop in the minors, it was over 250 ISO in this kid. So it's coming. He's not there yet. He might not be ready for the majors yet, but he's getting his shot here. You mentioned his 0 ISO right now because he's not hit an extra base hit. Makes me look foolish when I talk about him, but it's there, I promise you. So at some point he's going to get it. He's 2,100 on FanDuel, 2,800 on DK. If he's in the lineup, this is a right-handed pitcher who gives up a lot of righty power. So could be a good opportunity for the kid as well.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to download my one set of lineups here and get that uploaded. In the meantime, a reminder, we do have the MLB Top Pitchers tool is what is free today. I will drop that link in YouTube chat. But, of course, you guys can find it. Go to Awesemo.com. Look at our menu bar. Hover over MLB. You're going to see a bunch of options. Scroll down to the second from the bottom. It says Awesemo's Top Pitcher. That's how you can access that for free today. Reminder, if you're into basketball, we also have the promo code MAMBA. It gets you 7 days of all-access Awesemo Premium NBA for $824. Kobe Bryant, Mamba, 824. You guys get the picture there. Jump in on that. There. All right. Home run calls. Now, we haven't been as diligent with our home run calls this season. We haven't had consistent hosts. It's bounced around. I think everybody was mad that I won it last year. That's right. I won it last year. Had the only triple dong with Nelson Cruz, all that stuff. But you know what? It's my trophy to bestow at this point. I don't think any of us would even come close to what Terry is doing right now. And you can get his picks every day in his free article in front of the paywall. He'll reconfirm it at night, but more often than not, he does that. What are you hitting now on your home runs?
So I had the chance. I don't think Franmil got one last night. So if I had gotten Franmil last night and gotten today, I would have ended up at 400 through the first 30 picks, which would have been good. I would have been very happy with that. Instead, we're going to be around 32 or something after I get Joey Gallo tonight. That's my pick today. Love him in the lefty spot. He brutalizes left-handed pitching for his career. I think his career ISO is over 300 against this in the split. So love the spot for the kid. Yeah, I'm picking a big-time home run hitter, but I need this one. So I'm going with Joey Gallo.
No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I'm going to actually go – I've been looking at – I want to say Nelson Cruz against the lefty, but you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go Anthony Rendon again.
Ooh, I like it.
Last time I picked him, I think he wasn't in the starting lineup. He's been dealing with a sore back. this season. Cost him a few of the games in the first part, but I think we're good now. I'm assuming he's in the lineup. If he's not, I don't know who my backup is going to be. We'll just go with Brian Goodwin on the same team.
I'll make a Pujols if he's not in the lineup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get over 660th.
Yeah, why not?
I'll take him if you don't.
He's 40. There we go. Yeah, two of the three guys I'm mentioning are 40. Okay. Greg Ehrenberg had a nice little comment. He's like, how does Nelson Cruz get popped for steroids like 6 or 7 years ago and get better every year still?
Yeah, seriously.
Greg, let me answer that one for you. He'd stopped doing what got him there. But he said, and he had a good one. If we project this out, by the time he's 60, he's going to be threatening Barry Bonds' records, right? He's hitting his age in home runs every year. Right? Be a little hard this year to get 40 in 60 games, but just want to say he's another good one there.
Yeah. And that's kind of the track that Barry was on toward the end of his career, just hitting more and more as he got older and older. I think it was a little more chemical enhanced.
The Chapman one was pretty good yesterday. So and I didn't pick one from Coors West, but let me see here. Let's look. We got 23 plus 5 is 28 minutes to go. Let's talk about some more pitchers here because we gotta use this pitching tool. We mentioned Nola, a little bit of weather issue. Michael Fulmer, no bueno, very scary. I don't know what they're gonna do there with regards to who's coming in after him. The guy I'm trying to remember now. Let me go to my notes. I believe it was setting up to be. Was it Tyler Anderson? He of the many Ks. Ooh. And then he ended up getting used last night. So my guess, here was my guess, was Ronny Garcia.
That's not
I don't know who else is available after Michael Fulmer. Michael Fulmer has allowed 5 home runs this season in 8 1/3 innings. That's not good. He has allowed lefties to hit him for a 235 ISO. That is not good. Righties have gotten to him for 1.13 home runs per 9 since the beginning of last season. He's also allowing righties to get on base constantly, 1.4 per 9. So I definitely like our Cleveland options tonight. Look to them, but I don't know who's coming in after him. So my thought was perhaps Fulmer goes 50, 60 pitches and just sort of takes one for the team. He was been a starter his entire career. This is the first year where they've sort of tempered that back a little bit, just like, most teams sort of have this year with the abbreviated or with the ramp up, the off time, the short summer camp. The Mariners, I think I counted there's 9 teams going with the 6-man rotation right now. Boston doesn't even have a rotation. They've got a bunch of people that are ready to pitch every couple
Whoever's walking past Fenway that afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. The Mariners are doing a 6-man rotation, but then every now and then they punt with a bullpen game. Right. So, and they're like, yeah, it is a 6-man rotation, but sometimes we're going to have a bullpen. It's like, everything's out.
They're making it up as much as they go along, as much as anybody is this year with everything in life. So it's what we're seeing. And the important thing to remember with Fulmer too is he's coming off of 2 years, 18 months, something like that out of the game after some Tommy John. Still building up his velocity. He's lost 2 miles an hour off of his fastball as he works back. He was working at 96 previously. He's down to 94 now. It's just not there, not ready for me, and not a pitcher I would go to. Definitely like the Indian bats on the other side of this, like you said. Right now, Fulmer's 14th percentile in exit velo allowed, 10th percentile in hard hit, first bottom percentile in xwOBA allowed, 6th in barrels. It goes on and on like that through the StatCast stats. So just definitely not ready right now with what he's doing. Over his career, he's only 18.8% strikeouts. So even when he is healthy, he's not a big-time strikeout pitcher. Only allowed 1.03 home run per 9 over his 464 innings. So wasn't giving up a ton of long balls, but again, struggling to get his mechanics back, struggling with his velocity. He's going to be vulnerable to this lineup. We know there are good home run hitters in this lineup. We know there are guys who are patient hitters, know how to work accounts. So I love getting to these Indians. They're still cheap on FanDuel. I still don't know what's going on over there. We've got that infield that we like to talk about all the time. On DK, I like the pricing over there as well. You can get to some of the guys toward the bottom of the lineup very cheap, and the mainstays aren't crazy expensive except for Lindor and Ramirez. The other guys are in the 4K range, so you can definitely get to this lineup and do some good things with it. I like this. I like this team a lot. Franmil is bending my home run model, maybe not breaking it. All 4 actually of Ramirez, Lindor, Santana, and Franmil have home run marks over 10 in my home run model, so that's something I can point to here as well.
I had a really nice write-up going until Tyler Anderson started pitching, and I was mentioning how the first 4 guys in their lineup are switch hitters. So it didn't matter when a lefty came in; they were just all going to go to the other side of the plate and have the platoon advantage.
And that melted down your whole tape.
Yeah, you can't win them all.
I like it too.
You know what you can win at though? Awesemo. Awesemo.com. This is gonna blow everybody's mind because you guys just go to the site. You go to Awesemo, it looks pretty, it's all great. But if you look at that bar, we have the Awesemo Daily Fantasy Sports. That's what most of you are here for. We have the Awesemo Fantasy Football tab. We have the Awesemo Odds tab. Yeah, that's right. We have betting content. We have the Awesemo Odds Shopper, and then we have Side Action. Terry does a little well, we won't say it that way. Terry contributes to this website called Side Action that talks about entertainment and the juxtaposition of life and sports. And Terry's always looking for a little side action. Those are DMs that happen elsewhere, not on Awesemo. But we do have Odd Shopper, which is a very cool site. What it does for anybody, you can see different sports odds across the different sites. Now, Virginia has legalized gambling. They're just not sure when they're actually going to implement it. So, yes, I think we're up to now, 24 states have not passed, but have legislation in place or have passed, and they're expecting another 16 to get, so that'll be 80% of the states by the end of next year. We'll at least have something on the books or be ready to be voted on. Now, some of them are going to be like Virginia, which we're just waiting. They know it's not going to be until calendar next year, but you've got, Tennessee that was approved on, they're kind of waiting. You got Illinois that it's approved there, they're kind of waiting. This is all going to come down like a ton of bricks on a bunch of different states. So if you're at one of the 6 states or 6 or 7 states that is legal, this is a place you want to go. If you're having fun, if you're in pools, if you're doing other stuff, this is still a place you want to go because you can find out different odds across the board, player props, regular wagers, and all that fun stuff. And then we also, of course, have 4 or 5 guys that are providing content just for this. So don't forget that not only do we just have DFS, we've got season-long and best ball content. By the way, I want to say I did 402 best ball drafts last year, so it's not like I did – I like the slow version because then you can do it very often. So the fast one gets a little crazy, and I can only do one at a time because it's quick clock. But I like the slow ones, and then you're constantly running through them. But we got a lot of people that are doing a ton of volume on this that you guys don't even realize. So check this stuff out. Ben Jazzraz, Laffy, those guys got the betting down. Josh has models for everything. Yep. So check this out. We're seeing from SJM, Margavicius SP2 for cash. Hell no.
No.
Wave
for cash.
That's the wave right there. No, sure. I don't even think for GPP. Talk to us, and I mispronounced his name, and I said I was going to say it right today, but I did not. Nicky M.
Nicky M's.
Who Adam referred to as the worst pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball last year. Didn't know how he was in the show, and then he went away. Well, he's resurfaced with the Mariners. Part of that 6-man, 4-lefty rotation.
That's a heck of a thing. Yes, I didn't even realize 6-man, 4 lefty.
4 lefties. Yeah, so you're always like, oh, they're playing, and they played Houston 9 times or 8 times this season, all in Houston. They have their other games remaining here, so it's like Houston Mariners lefties. Here we go. It's like I could just copy and paste my article.
Yeah, that is not how we're supposed to build a lineup either. So
no.
Yeah, Margavich is just not a pitcher for me. If you want to get there and you've got a good reason, I'd like to hear it. Not really sure what we're seeing. Maybe it's just price-based, but I was on the other side. I actually wrote up the Rangers here today, and I like that spot a lot. I think the Texas offense gets to this pitcher. 71 innings pitched. He's got a 4.86 xFIP, 16.7% strikeout rate, so he's not going to be giving you strikeouts. He's going to be vulnerable to some offense. This year so far, he's sitting 42nd percentile xWOBA, 33rd percentile in K rate, 9th percentile in exit velocity allowed, 12th percentile in hard hit allowed. So he's giving up a ton of hard contact, doesn't strike anybody out to a lineup with Joey Gallo sitting in the middle of it. Not a good recipe. You've got Shin-Soo Choo coming down from up top. Danny Santana had a nice game last night, little home run. I like his power. I like what he's got to offer us from the top up here. Todd Frazier, still not a slouch against a bad lefty pitcher. He can definitely generate some power for us. Nick Solak, not even terrible here. I don't hate Rougned Odor despite his splits against a bad lefty. You can even get to him. He's probably going to be down lineup, only 2,500 on FanDuel. A lot of these guys are going to be low on, particularly the lefties. You get to some of those lefty-lefty matchups and people just get away out of habit. It's not keeping people too much off of Joey Gallo, but he excels against the lefties, like I mentioned earlier. So I would actually be getting ahead of the 16 and change percentile percent ownership that we have on him here. So I really like the Ranger spot on this. I would not roster Marjavicius in really any capacity.
All right. I got now they're asking Chris Allard as an SP2 in cash. No.
pitchers
No way. Do I have to do this again? No, neither of the pitchers in that game are anybody you want to use.
Definitely not in cash.
But not in cash. So let's help find somebody. Let's help find a secondary cash pitcher. So let's check out sponsor site Yahoo real quick here. Let me see. Too many tabs open. But again, you guys do have that top pitching tool is open today. So let me go open that for myself. So watch, I'm going to do this live. Hovering over the MLB, scrolling down to Awesemo top pitchers, right-clicking on it because I'd like a second tab. And oh, look, there it is. By the way, that's free today. Now that I have it open, you guys can too, just by clicking on the link in chat. So let's see here. I have not yet built my lineups for baseball, but that will be my next little task. If I was looking for a cash pitcher tonight, I would say Nola is number one. If you're worried about the weather, completely understand that. Number two is Lance McCullers, or co-number one. For me, is going to be Lance McCullers. A little bit of safety. Houston is not, or pardon me, San Diego is not bad. They're also not going to hit a grand slam for a fifth night in a row. I don't think anyway. They're the first team to ever do it. Or was that last night they got it? I've lost track of the days.
I think it was last night. No, maybe it was the night before. It was 2 nights. I've completely lost track of it.
In any event, they're good, but McCullers, a lot of ground balls. That's helpful to him. So then we're trying to find a second one. Some would say Robbie Ray. Some would be willing to throw caution to the wind. He has had 6 walks in 2 of his 4 starts this season. That's not good. He's given up 3, 2, 1, and 0 home runs, 0 being the most recent. I don't hate that. Danny Duffy gives up a boatload of home runs, but is actually not a bad pitcher. A little bit of strikeout upside, and he's going against the Twins, who do have some guys that can tend to fan things a little bit.
Yeah,
Jake Odorizzi coming back from was he Tommy John, or he had some – I can't remember his injury, but he's only thrown twice, so I don't really want to go to him. Where are we finding an SP2? Is it Dallas Keuchel? I had put a pin in Anthony Desclafani until the Cards put out a bunch of people not hitting from the right side. So I don't really know if I'm not playing cash tonight. If I was playing cash, I don't know who I would go to as an SP2. Help me out. McCullers is the first one.
What about Andrew Heaney? Have you looked at him? It's a tough spot.
A lot of righty power. Cooler weather. That's nice.
Strikeout potential.
We don't think they're using juice balls on that side of the bay anyway.
It's not the greatest spot in the world. He's going higher owned than he is probability of being one of the top 2 on DK. And you can basically translate those over to Yahoo. I don't hate the spot, though. I think there's enough strikeouts for him in that lineup to put up a decent start here. Let's see. He is operating in like the 30th to 40th percentile in pretty much everything, xWOBA, hard hit, all those different StatCast categories I like to cite. So not the worst in the world, not the best in the world, below league average, but I think we can get to him here. 179 home runs per 9 to right-handed hitters. What we have to avoid with this lineup. We know that there's a lot of righty power in there. So it's kind of a tightrope walk, but he is the 5th ranked pitcher the last time I updated the top pitchers tool here. I think we can roll him out there a little bit as an SP2. Maybe not for cash. It might be a little bit dangerous for a cash play, but definitely for GPPs, I want to at least have some.
All right.
Sure. Who else? Garrett Richards.
Oof. Yeah, he's on the short list. It gets dicey. This is why this season is a tournament season for me. Now, what I don't hate is approaching single entry 50-50s as a tournament. You're going to get 2x your buy-in, which is like a min cash, and you've got a lot more wiggle room. It's capped upside, but just saying that's one way to do it. And then you put whatever entry you have in there in a smaller buy-in tournament. And I call it backing. I don't know what the right term is, but it's like when DFS first started, they made 50-50s. So people would, because there was a couple lobby bosses that just took everybody's game, and it was no fun. So the 50-50s were to try to protect you. It's like, well, they're not going to scoop all your games because they didn't have the technology set up to have the blocking. So if you posted, someone would just take them all because nobody was posting games. And it was funny because as it quickly built out, every site had the 50-50s within 72 hours. Then they did triple ups, then quadruple ups, and then they did quintuple ups, and then somebody did 10x, and we're like, now we're back to GPPs. This is
this is basically the same thing at that point.
But I used to say putting out one in a 50-50 and then putting it in something else for some upside, call it backing. I'm sure there's a poker term or something. It's not hedging, but some other way.
Yeah,
but that's what you used to do.
Is that term, backing?
Yeah, because you would. The goal was I'll pay for both of them if I cash in the 50-50, or essentially the rake will get you a little bit now. Mm-hmm. But if you have a good lineup, then you make money, right? So it definitely a way to do it. But it reminds me, God, that was almost 10 years ago. On a very night just like this, the same stretch of road, dense fog, just like this, the worst accident I ever saw. There was this sound like a garbage truck dropped off of the Empire State Park.
Look at this guy.
You know what?
That means I was riding with, say it with me,
Marge. Tell him Marge sent you. There
you go. My favorite lines in that is when he's describing his dream. So I'm rolling a huge donut and this snake wearing a vest. I always wanted to hear the rest of where that dream goes.
Oh, that was such a bad movie, but it was one of the few that was on VHS. This was not rated PG or R that my parents would get us. So there you go.
Classic flick. Phil Hartman co-wrote that.
Did he really? I did not know. I do know that
the mailman on the show.
He did. Lawrence Fishburne, Cowboy.
Bob?
Cowboy Bob is what comes to name. I can't remember for
Bob.
sure.
Yeah. Crazy amount of talent associated with that show, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
I think they're bringing it back again, too.
All right. Back to the game. We have 12 minutes to go here. That means it's time for me to enter my last contest, make some lineups here. Again, we've got the show after us tonight, Alex Baker and Nolan Kelly. They're going to talk best ball. We're also going to talk about the best ball offerings we have. We're going to tell you how you can get the season-long package / best ball package and $5 just for you. Tune in, find out how that works. That's called a hook.
Fantasy sports.
That's called a hook. But just, it's a good deal. All right, so what have we missed tonight? We've sort of hit on top stacks. We've talked about scary pitching and no real good SP2 because all of a sudden we're talking about Pee Wee Herman, which is sort of the indicator of, there's not much else to talk about. What do you want to do here if you are playing cash? What is your approach? Because there's no Coors, so there's no bats, in my opinion, you have to force in tonight. You can take some of the rookies. You can take – did we get that? We still don't have an Angels lineup yet. You've got some cheap guys with Adele, if he's in the lineup for the Angels, which he probably ought to be. If not, you can go with Baltimore rookie call-up Ryan Mountcastle. He's only available on DraftKings. But now we've got some salary cap that we can work with for two SPs. It's got to be McCullers one. What risk are you willing to absorb for two? Do you go with Nola?
So are we considering the risk of figuring out the pay up, where we're going to reduce our salary on our stack side, getting to Nola plus the rain delay as potentially being less risk than like a Heaney versus an Oakland?
Thank you for bringing me back the full way. I think Joe Madden's still the manager for Oakland.
LA.
Or for LA, sorry. What was Haney's pitch count in the last one?
Good question. You might have it, but it's probably not what you would want, I would imagine. That's a very good point.
Yeah, let me see if I can get there real quick. But we're not joking this a little bit, but he's had a quick hook. We saw Madden do this for a while with Kyle Hendricks in Chicago. It looks like this is his new sort of project now with Haney, who is a solid pitcher. We like the weather. We like everything else. Haney is 7,700. He has he won 101 against the Dodgers. Maybe that was just to show up Dave Roberts, just be like, It was a game of chicken. Do I need to go look and see who got to pitch? It was a game of chicken there. But prior to that, 77, 87, 64, and 67. So I guess it's not as bad as we're making it out to be. It was just against Seattle in one of them. He pulled him at 64 pitches and was like, he was rolling. And there was nothing going on. And there you go. He had 6 strikeouts on 64 pitches. That, I think, was what got us mentioning Joe Madden again. But 7,700, I think it has to be Haney. You're right.
Yeah, and then I think we've got some value stacks on the board on DK. Just looking at our value column here, I wrote up Milwaukee last night. I still like that spot, but they're going a little overowned. Cash, I don't mind that as much, though. I'm not really worried about the ownership share. What else? San Diego, nice value number there, so you can build with that. They're a quality team. They're middle of the pack, basically, as far as stacks go. You can build with the White Sox probably, but they're going to be, again, I keep going back to the popular thing because I have a GPP brain. But, yeah, I think we have enough value on the board that we can probably put some things together, maybe leave one spot for a one-off for a very cheap guy like Mountcastle, like you mentioned, and then pay up for both pitcher spots or, work a Heaney in there and then get to a better stack. I think that's the approach.
All right. So I know both of us have our bailout lineups in. Have you tried to run Cruncher?
It's been casually sort of running in the background for me. It's not been the best, smoothest experience right now. For some reason, something I did in there, and I would have to spend a little while to find what I did, is not letting me build stacks the way I want to right now. But we've got about 100 built, and I'll be able to put them in, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, we just got that Angels lineup. Let me scroll down to it. Fletcher, La Stella, Trout, Rendon, Goodwin batting 5th. I really like Goodwin now.
Interesting.
So Pujols 6, Adele 7, Anthony Bemboom. And we've got some great names tonight. And Andrelton Simmons. So you need a little savings. You got Adele. You've got Lord Mountcastle there for Baltimore, which was named after Lord Baltimore, actually. Look at that.
There you go.
We're gonna watch Downton Abbey after this. Oh, no. I'm kidding. It's an Anne of Green Gables night. Come on.
It's an enjoyable show.
I'm cutting this section to send to my mom. She loves PBS. So
I'll watch anything. You put it on the TV, I'm pretty much in. So, but Downton Abbey was all right. That was enjoyable the first couple seasons, and then I kind of bailed out. I got lost with it.
Well, my favorite was listening to Boomer Esiason, who, by the way, nobody else did a play fake ever like Boomer Esiason. Didn't matter what point in his career. Nobody could hide the ball on their hip like him. Freaking Houdini. Till I was listening to CBS Radio, and he called it Downtown Abbey. Enunciated like that. You're just like, oh, Boomer. Boomer. He didn't misspell it on your read sheet. Let me just tell you that.
Downtown Abbey, the story of a down on her luck sex worker of some kind, black comedy kind of a show. Downtown Abbey,
yeah, could be. So who, as I'm trying to run my crunches now for the first time, this is not going to go well. But again, I can bail out there's a nice robust 5-game late slate. Who if you were looking at top stacks, what would be the teams that you would want to focus on?
So since I do have top stacks up in front of me here, just taking a peek across the two sites, I really like the looks of Cleveland, who we touched on. The Dodgers are the top-ranked stack on both sites, and they're a great option here. They're going to be owned. Angels we touched on, same thing. They're fairly high-ranked here. Getting a little tiny sliver of ownership advantage as of my last update on DK with them, so you can make that work. I like the looks a lot of Arizona on both sites, particularly on FanDuel, where they're going about half as owned as they should be. I think we can get to that one a lot. I wrote that stack up in my stack slinks this afternoon. So if you want the full take, you can jump over there real quick. Got Baltimore. I also added them in that column. We've talked about them a little bit. They're only going about a third of what they should be owned on FanDuel, about half on DraftKings. So good spots there. There's a lot to like today. Like I mentioned, it's a lot of grouped together teams and not that much separation. So I think it's a day to spread out and maybe pick off some of those teams that are just go down the ownership column and start looking at those lower owned teams.
Think about John Lester. We didn't really get into him at all.
I like Lester. I was getting to some Lester earlier. Let me just flip my stuff over here. He's not ever going to really be a guy who blows away projections for me. And he's throwing in the high 80s now. He's an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, a sinker that he's using 42% of the time. He's a career 22% strikeout guy. Keeps the ball in the yard, 0.92 home runs per 9 for his career. But it's gone up the last couple of years. It was 1.3 in 2017, 1.19 in 2018, and 1.36 in 2019 with a 1.48 against righty hitters. So a little bit dicey getting through some of those right-handers, but I like the spot. We know there are strikeouts in that lineup. I wouldn't go nuts with them, but I think we can use them a little bit. I don't hate it. On the one-pitcher site, it's less of an option. There are options I like better or right around the same price range, so I would have a lower share of them on the one-pitcher site. But again, he's really not drawing any ownership whatsoever over there. So if you get a good game from him on FanDuel, you're going to get that leg up into, from one of those mid-range type pitchers that we talk about where you're not having to pay up for the good start. And even if he doesn't equal a Aaron Nola, a Walker Buehler, a Max Fried, he's going to give you enough for the price where you're making it up with bats and then some. So I don't hate that spot.
All right. I get 3 minutes. You think I can even run crunches in 3 minutes? Or is this just to do a late slate night with your main slate?
I think it might be a late slate night. I'm going to hope that I can even just get this upload exported right now.
All right. Well, let's run 104 fours here and just see what happens.
Yeah, we can get there. 2 minutes. So, do you have your CSV edit all ready to go?
I do, actually.
Okay. That's
shockingly. But now I need to make sure I've taken out, because I've run into this a few times. I haven't taken out hitters that aren't in the lineup anymore. But I waited long enough tonight till where that's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, it might be a few things to correct on the back end with the late games, but you should be all right with the others.
All right. So we got a few.
If I freeze in the next 5 seconds, it's just because Excel's exporting.
Yeah, it's buddy. Do a few more lineups, and then the bulk of these are going to get done later. That's just how it's going to have to be here with 2 minutes to go before lock. Again, these are the sacrifices we make for you guys. I'm not getting anything comprehensive. A lot of Aaron Nola, that's fine. I'll get him. I'm just going to download here. I've got it set up. What I do is high dollar to low dollar, and then lineup types. I do want to mix in my see a little bit of random, a little bit of filter here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times for luck. I'm seeing a lot of Walker Buehler, Aaron Nola. That's fine. Okay. So I'm going to go 1, 2. I don't like some of these here. That's going to be a problem. I don't want them all in my winner-take-all contest because I like to have a little bit of a mix there, some of the late slates, and 3. And then let's upload what we have. That is going to be approximately 1/2 of my lineups if this works.
I just threw mine in. I have not much idea what's in them, but hopefully it went along the lines of what I was asking it to do.
There we go.
Looks like I got a lot of Oakland stack-wise. We've got a fair amount of Cleveland, good amount of Milwaukee. Those are my 4-mans. Some San Diego, some Chicago in there. Some 3-mans with Oakland.
Yep. So apparently I'm going
some 2-mans too.
And again, some will change, some won't. Arizona right now, 32% of my 4-man stacks. Now I ran my 4-4s. So, okay, there we are. Milwaukee, 25%. White Sox, 18. Cleveland, 17. I hope they're a little bit of a later game. Like to get a little bit more. Texas, 15. San Diego, 17. That's a little bit of a hedge there against McCullers. Mm-hmm. And then I got a bunch of McCullers, and that's really where it caps out because I ran my stuff pretty high. I still have half my lineup, so now I'm gonna go in actively and start selecting players or 3- and 4-man stacks because now I've got time until the next games go off. And that look, I used to get all bent out of shape or mad or angry when stuff didn't work out. I'm not going to worry about it as much now. It's a couple $100. If things go poorly, then they just go poorly. I've got enough things that work correctly for me that probably shouldn't have, yet they do. So we only have 3 games going off. We've got Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Philly, Atlanta, Detroit, and Cleveland. So, okay, a little sad. I'm going to talk for the next couple minutes. I'm not going to get in on the Cleveland stacks I want. I'll live with that. Now we're at Boston and Baltimore at 7:35. I'm going to sneak down, have a little bit of dinner, and before my wife knows it, I'm going to be back up here building some of those stacks, and then we're from 8 o'clock later. So I've set up my CSV, so I already know if as long as I set up my thing right with enough people in the 8 o'clock and later games, I don't have anybody that's in that pesky lock spot. So for the next 2/3 of my lineups, I just can copy it right in. I don't have to worry about late swap. I don't have to worry about all that stuff on Cruncher or Swap Optimizer. I can just build them, Xing out the player pool of the games that already start, but it just makes it a little bit faster, and then I can still use my same rules. So this is kind of how you do it. Works better for basketball when you're up to air. Usually they only have one 7 o'clock early game, maybe two, and then they got the rest of them after that, and it's a full half hour between. Baseball can be a little bit tricky from time to time, so you want to check that out. Now, we got a bunch of shows. We have one I'm going to jump off air here within the next 2 minutes because we got one coming on after us. That's NFL Best-Ball. This will be a nice one to listen to on our podcast feed or on YouTube as it will be posted there as well. It's going to be Alex Baker, and it is going to be Nolan Kelly. Tomorrow, we have a 1 o'clock NBA lock. Adam Scherer, Ship My Money, and I will be on for that starting at noon. After us will be a NASCAR show. And then we are pretty sure most sites are going to go with the 7 o'clock lock. There's one game floating out there at 6 o'clock. It's 2020 or 6:40. It's 2020. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? But we think everybody's going at 7:05. You'll get Terry and I promptly at 6 o'clock tomorrow because we're going to have a bunch of games to talk about for that. And then you got Saturday or Sunday shows. We're going both sports lock at 1 o'clock. So we're doing the live before lock baseball is actually going to be at 11, and then basketball will start at noon and take you up to first tip. So that's how the weekend's going to transpire here, and we're fitting in a NASCAR show somewhere. NASCAR is Saturday for the main race. That's at 4 o'clock.
Oh, that's good to know.
Check it out.
Didn't know that.
And Jake the Snack. Sorry, not Jake the Snake. Jake the Snack. Josh Engelman's wife, she likes to give out nicknames to guys that look cute. I'm just saying, that's her words only. He's such a snack. That's what her words when she saw. Who's that guy on the show with you? He's a snack. Mrs. Engelman, thumbs up.
Solid nickname.
All right. With that, gamers, stick around. Watch Alex. Watch Nolan. It'll be fun. Follow Terry at DigitalB21. Follow me at Emac DFS. And, of course, Awesemo _com. With that, gamers, good luck.